Hello, guys, and welcome to the TnF Gaming News Podcast thingamabob. It's me, Travis, and again, VTM here.
Hello.
So, the way we're going to do this now, um, we've been talking about over the last week. What we are going to do is we are going to these are going to be more of a news thing. So, we're going to have our news come out, what's happened throughout the last week that we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to have the reviews be a separate thing, so that we can go more in depth with it. We're not rushing for time. We can actually dive into it step by step and try to do really in-depth reviews of games so we don't miss stuff, because I know sometimes when you rush you miss things that you may not otherwise if you were able to take your time with it and everything. So that's where we're sitting right now. So we have a few news topics today, and today we're going to start with it looks like EA has been raising their prices on Steam, not in the US, but in other places around the world. Um, it seems to me, and I may be off here, but it seems to me it's like their way to try to get people to use Origins instead, because I don't know, I can't really put my finger on why they would do this otherwise.
They're not making enough money from those other places. That's it. They're
Yeah.
like, hey, rent's due. You want these games? Pay up. 16-year-old games, pay up.
Yeah. So places like the UK, Mexico, most of Europe, they've seen a lot of increases. But it's I guess based on the articles I've read, that it's very inconsistent. Like some countries will have a price increase for one game, but a decrease for another. So I don't know. It's really weird. This was kind of brought to light from some guy on Reddit. His name is mjuniordc9 on Reddit. Brought this to the light that like there was these random like SimCity 4 uh, in Brazil. This is in Brazil. It's $80 now when it was 35.
Yeah, that's dumb. Maybe they see those games on the rise in these other places. I don't know. Like, there's nothing to explain why they're doing this, other than the fact that like maybe it's for people to use.
Yeah. And I don't know how Russian currency works. I tried to look it up before we record. I didn't even know how to pronounce what their currency was. It was like real or something. But Mass Effect Collection was 800p or whatever that is, and now it's 1700. I don't know what that comes to in American or Canadian dollars.
I'm gonna say it's an arm and a leg.
Yeah, because I don't know. I don't think they're charging $1,700 for the Mass Effect Collection. That'd be something though. I wouldn't want to live in Russia if that was the case, for many reasons, but that was one of them. So we can go through it. So SimCity 4, we're going to go through what the Reddit post said. So SimCity 4, we just talked about, Deluxe Edition. In Brazil, this is the Deluxe Edition, actually, not the norm. The other one was the normal edition. In Brazil, it was $35. Now it's $80. Actually, that's the same thing. In Canada, it was $20. Now it's $27. In Europe, it's gone up $10. In Germany, it's gone up $8. I don't know what that place is, but it's gone up 600 something. And then I don't even know, RUB. I don't know.
Is that rubies?
Rubies. And then with that, no, Canada went up $10. Wait, no, there's two Canadas on there. That's weird.
CAD is Canada.
Yeah, there's two of them on there. Don't know why.
Oh.
And
Could
then
be the other side of Canada, because I know that they try to think that they're other people.
yeah. Oh, it's because those are different games. Sorry. Crisis 2, Maximum Edition. Brazil, it was 40, and now it's 119. Canada, it was 29, now it's 39.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Europe, it went up $10. Germany, it went up $5. Mass Effect Collection went up from in Brazil. Brazil's getting fucked. It went from 69 or 59, well, $60 to $139.99. In Canada, the Mass Effect collection went up from 35 to 45.
Why? Like, you know how old these games are? Like, why are they raising the prices?
Yeah, it's just random price spikes. They'd never. I mean, they probably won't come out and issue any kind of statement because to them this isn't something worthy of a statement, and it probably isn't really worthy of a statement, but it is worthy of talking about because it on the surface.
It's odd behavior.
Now
for this company.
this isn't happening in the U.S.
No.
It's just all like random countries, and it seems like somebody pissed off Brazil. But yeah, I don't know what the point is of all these like price spikes, other than trying to get people to buy it on Origins instead. But if they were doing that, you would have thought they would have been doing it everywhere. Like you would have thought even in the U.S. they would have jacked the prices up.
I don't know. Maybe they don't want to anger the biggest consumer area.
Yeah.
Like their biggest profits is in the U.S. So best not to make them mad. They're already mad that they're getting boned by EA anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. And EA, and I think this kind of it really does stem from not being able to trust EA at all. Like, I feel like if there's a different company that did this that's been trustworthy for years, maybe it would be a non-story. But when EA does it, it becomes a story because people just don't trust them, and nor should they.
Yeah, and like, I don't know how many other companies do it. Maybe there's a bunch, but like, again, it's just odd behavior from a company that we already know loves to make money any possible way they can.
Yeah.
Especially when I would say most of these games are like solo, like single player. Maybe they have expansions and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, they aren't online. So they can't really charge microtransactions.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking up Dragon Age here really quick because I want to see. I'll click on Canada for you, VTM. So in Canada, what is this? Dragon Age Origins Ultimate Edition. On the 27th. Oh, that's January. But anyway, February 5th, it went up $10 for Canada. So like I said, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know who pissed off Canada and Brazil, or who Brazil and Canada pissed off. But there's just these random price spikes that it was just peculiar because it was random. Because it's just on Steam too. I think that's what's the biggest thing. They just did it on Steam. It's not like they raised the prices of their games on Origins in Canada and Brazil and Russia and in all of Europe. They just did it on Steam, and that's what makes me think that they're just doing that so people are more likely to buy it on Origins, so they can support Origins and not Steam. But if you're gonna fucking do that, why even agree to put your games on fucking Steam if you're gonna fuck them over? EA.
Yeah. Like, think about it like this. So Dragon Age Origins, the Unlimited Edition, seems like it came out October 26, 2010. So that's almost a 10-year-old game.
And it went up $10. It's not like it had a sale.
Yeah, it just went up $10. Like it got new DLC. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's not like it had a sale and now they're pushing it back down. It was this price for a long time, and all of a sudden just went up $10 just because. And I think that's where the story comes from, because EA does this random shit. I mean, I guess Jedi Fallen Order hasn't gone up or down. It's actually gone down a few times, but it hasn't gone up. But that's like one of the only games. So a shit ton of EA games just randomly spiking up, which if you live in the US is a non-story. But for anybody listening to this who's from Europe or from Brazil or from Canada like VTM is, them jacking their prices up, maybe, for some people it may not matter. Because like for me, I said the same thing about the Epic Store. I don't really care where I buy and play my game from. But in terms of business practices, it seems like EA is just like, yeah, we'll let our games onto Steam, and then now they're like, we're gonna jack the prices up, so you would rather buy it on Origin, so you don't have to buy it here. That's just, like I said, that's just how it looks. Don't know if that's why. I just don't know why else they would do that if that wasn't the reason.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. Anyways,
Anyway.
next story.
So next up, we have
Let's watch this taste of EA out of our mouth. Jeez.
with people leaving EA.
Even better.
So there's a new company created by, their new company under Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast, if you don't know, they publish Magic: The Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons. And
I know them. I've played their games before.
Yep.
I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
Love me.
Not like that. And it has a new development studio under them, Archetype Entertainment. So it's being ran basically by two ex-BioWare veterans, and they're trying to do a new story-driven sci-fi RPG. So basically, they're trying to bring back Mass Effect correctly, in my mind. I hope it doesn't.
Well, probably like Mass Effect, Dragon Age. I don't know. Could we throw Baldur's Gate in there too?
Sure. Yeah.
That's sci-fi.
Yeah. So they're creative. They're teaming. The former BioWare creative director and lead designer James Olin. He did previous works for Baldur's Gate, Dragon Age Origins. Hey, that went up in price. Neverwinter Nights and Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. He is kind of heading that studio. But it also seems that they landed another former BioWare employee in Drew. You know how to say his last name.
His name is Drew Karpyshyn.
Karpyshyn. Okay. And he worked for BioWare for 18 years. He was the lead writer on Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2, and the senior writer on Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. So he basically, in terms of story-driven RPGs, he's basically my father.
Not even that. Like he's done so much for the community of just like basic Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's written some of the better books for the Star Wars Legends series at this point. Like, because he wrote the 3 Bane books. He wrote Annihilation, which is an old Republic book. And even outside of Star Wars, like he's written 3 Mass Effect books that are all great.
Mm-hmm.
One of them's a prequel to the game. So, yeah, like dude knows what he's doing. Like he's a major writer. Leaving is a really big hit.
Yeah, and I feel like he had left a while back.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I don't know, his writing's very solid for the most part.
Yeah, because last April is when James Olin joined him. So this has kind of been a work in progress. It seems like for a while. But who's also joining him is another person from BioWare, Chad Robertson. Now, Chad Robertson, he recently served as head of live services on Anthem, and he's like, "Fuck this," and got the fuck out of there.
Another hit for Anthem. The hits keep on coming.
Yeah, he was one of the people who left. There was a number of people who left BioWare around the time Anthem came out. He left the company in November, so he's also.
They didn't want to get blamed for that, so they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna leave."
Yeah, so he's also joining this team. So here is the company's mission statement. This was something that was on their website. I'm sure I'll pop it up on the screen, but they said, "We believe there will always be a place for story-driven role-playing games that put the player at the center of an epic personal narrative with impactful choices. We are building games that represent the diversity of our audience." So basically, they're basically just going to run it like BioWare before EA got a hold of them.
Yeah.
Um,
This kind of makes me wonder though, because there was like talks of the whole Knights of the Old Republic remake,
mm-hmm.
and I would have assumed that they would have had Drew on that, because again, he was like one of the main writers for that.
Yeah.
And again, he's done so much for Star Wars. You would think that they would want his input on that, but I don't know. With him going to this new company, he might just focus all of his energy for like writing a story for whatever future game they're doing, or future games for all that we know.
Yeah, I mean, this doesn't get me not excited. It just depends on what it's. I mean, graphics aren't
No,
everything.
it makes me excited.
Yeah, graphics aren't everything, but I mean, they had not. It's not like people who run. It's not like Wizards of the Coast doesn't have money. We can say that. So,
Yeah.
So Karpashin also put out a statement. I'll read that now. He said, "When I started at BioWare, everything was fresh and exciting. It was a dream job. Talented people working together to create epic games like Baldur's Gate, Knights of the Old Republic, Mass Effect, and Dragon Age. But as we grew and became more successful, things changed. We became more corporate, which, they have. They became more EA.
More corporate. I wonder why.
We were less able to make what we loved, and the teams were pushed to create games based on market research rather than our creative instincts and passions. My job became just a job, and I lost enthusiasm and excitement I once had. But with Archetype, my passion has been rekindled. The feel in the studio reminds me of my early days at BioWare. I can feel the magic in the air. And even though I can't get too deep into the specifics of what we're working on yet, we're already generating plenty of excitement in the industry." So, that says a lot.
Baldur's Gate 4.
They can't do that, but that says a lot. That says a lot, and it pretty much confirms what we already knew. Like, Anthem, as excited I was for Anthem, and I wish it would have worked out, and it didn't turn out the way it did. I was hoping for something much better. Obviously, we all were. It didn't feel like a BioWare game to begin with, because it wasn't an RPG. That's what BioWare was good at. And then all of a sudden, they're pushing this thing where it's like, oh, we have to do what is more profitable. We have to do what EA says, and what does EA say? We want a game that's like Destiny.
Yeah.
And BioWare.
And there's nothing wrong with trying something new.
Yeah.
But like when it's not your ideal,
mm-hmm.
it tends to not work. It's like, so say you need to clean up your house,
mm-hmm.
but you come up with that ideal yourself. So you're probably going to clean. But if someone else is telling you to clean up your house, you're probably not going to do it because someone's telling you to do it.
Why you didn't clean your room when your mom told you to?
Yeah. It's like kids. You tell them to do something, they won't. But like, if you just let them come to that conclusion themselves, they'll do it.
Yeah. And yeah, there's
same thing with games. If EA is like down these guys' throats, telling them what they want, same thing with movies. Like these production companies are like, oh, we want this, we want that. We're going to step in, tell you how to do it. Like, it's not going to turn out great.
Yeah. But yeah. But BioWare, Anthem just didn't feel like a BioWare game, and it's okay to try something different, but it's almost like they were trying something different in spite of themselves instead of actually wanting to create something different. That's why your pre-development was 6 years before you actually started making the damn game.
Yeah.
And so their goal, according to their website, is to create the greatest story-driven role-playing games in the world. I hope they do. I would really love
Diablo.
I would really love them to be able to make a game. If it's a sci-fi game like a Mass Effect, it won't be Mass Effect, but a game like that, right? A role-playing game that we can love, characters we can get into, things that made us love the original Mass Effect trilogy that they ripped out a lot of it And that was the biggest thing with Mass Effect Andromeda. They ripped out everything we loved, and so we were stuck with a lot of characters that we didn't care for. We cared about Shepard. We wanted to go on the journey with Shepard and with the characters because we cared about those characters. You didn't care about anybody in Andromeda because it was half-assed. Because they made a company that wasn't even used to making Mass Effect make Mass Effect because the main team was making fucking Anthem, which they weren't even making at that time. They were pretending to make it. Because they were still in pre-development. They didn't even know what the fuck they were doing. So it annoys me as a fan of early BioWare games to sit here and watch them get destroyed. And I hope that this company works out, because let me tell you something, if EA does what they do to all these other companies and I have to shut BioWare down because it's going down that path, at least they would have a place to go.
Well, if this Anthem 2.0 or whatever it is doesn't work out, I'm pretty sure they're gonna get shut down.
I don't know about that. I mean, Dragon Age is gonna happen, and if Dragon Age fails,
but Dragon Age Inquisition had like bad reviews. Like it didn't sell the greatest.
I actually don't think Dragon Age Inquisition did have bad reviews.
It did.
You keep talking. I'm looking it up.
It was, I would say, like personally for me, it was the weakest.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that it didn't sell as great as the rest of them. And I don't know, like it just seems like the quality of BioWare games has been going down.
Inquisition had 89 on Metacritic.
Really?
Yeah, I remember, because I remember having some people, because it was a slower year in video games. Can't remember what year that came out. 2014, so around the beginning of the new the PS4 and the Xbox One. So that was in that. I mean, it was like a year old, but that was around the time when there was no games. So that was a slow year, and so Inquisition won Game of the Year for a lot of people. That's how I knew. I don't know how it sold. You could be right on the sales, but I do remember it did get good reviews.
Yeah.
But regardless, I hope for the best for this company. We need if they're leaving Mass Effect just to make, or if they're leaving BioWare just to kind of make a company like BioWare so they can make the games that they enjoyed making years ago, so that they actually make good games that they loved making, just like the original Mass Effect trilogy, just like the Dragon Age games. More power fucking to them, and I will be first one in line to play their game. Because if their goal is to create the greatest story-driven role-playing game in the world, and I know there was a person who said that about a different game. I can't remember what his name was, and then the game sucked. Fable 3.
Oh, Fable
3. I can't remember if it was Fable 3 was talking about, or Fable 2, but he kept, our goal is to make Fable the greatest role-playing game in the world again, and the game was fucking terrible.
Yeah, I think it might have been Fable 3.
Yeah. So it's easy to just fucking say it. But I hope they're able to pull it off, because I'm rooting for them, because I don't think we're going to get another good Mass Effect game from BioWare, because the people who worked, the big people who worked at BioWare when making the original Mass Effect trilogy are in this fucking new company. So I don't know if we're going to get a new Mass Effect. I think they've been EA'd. I'm praying for Respawn, because Respawn's so good, but I'm scared. I'm scared for Respawn, because I don't want the same thing that happened to them, that happened to BioWare, that happened to everybody else that works for EA. Getting worse and worse and worse, being forced to use a Frostbite engine that nobody knows how to use except for DICE because they fucking created it, and then getting shut down. It's worrying. I worry because EA owns, or did own, some of my favorite developers, and now they're just getting worse and worse under them, because it just seems like they're not making games. It's okay to be different, but if you being different makes your games worse than what you once were, maybe it's time to just go back and do what you know best. The issue is the people who work at BioWare now, they probably weren't there when they were making these Mass Effect games, because a lot of them have moved on, and the lead writer of Mass Effect 1 and 2 is now with Archetype Entertainment. So
hopefully we can get I don't know, Maybe a Star Wars game in the future. Who knows?
Star Wars. Doubtful. But anyway, moving on to that. Speaking of Disney,
Yeah.
they were at the, what was that called? The DICE Summit in Vegas. I believe it was last week because it was the same one where the Epic Store guy called talk shit about loot boxes even though they do their own shady shit. They're like,
Hypocrites.
learn when to grow up in the game. People in the game industry and learn when they want to grow up, and it's just like, well, I mean, I'm happy that you're talking shit about loot boxes, and I'm not gonna judge you there because if you want to talk shit about loot boxes, be my guest. But loot boxes isn't the only thing in gaming that's shady. We'll just leave it at that. So basically, Sean Shapto, I don't know how you say his name. He pretty much opened the vault, if you will, to all their IPs. So obviously, Star Wars is still EA's. Through 2013, I believe, is what the agreement runs through for them. And so Sean Shaptow, we're gonna go with that. Shaptow. He said, "I'm here for one specific reason: to empower you to do really unique things with our catalog. We want to tap into the power of creative across the industry. We want to tap into the power of yeah." So he is. I mean, again, it's easy to say things. But I think the success of Spider-Man, the success of even Kingdom Hearts 3, even though me and VTM were more disappointed by the initial release of Kingdom Hearts 3 than what we would have hoped, it still sold well. I think it still sold better than any game in the series.
Yeah. I'm just upset that I didn't cry at the beginning.
Yeah. You had Fallen Order this past year. And so they're probably looking at all these sales and they're going, if we can make these great story, driven games, because they are pushing for narratives. Even Spider-Man, which is more a Sony product, but it's still Disney.
And it's not even Disney making them because they don't have any in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Since I would say Epic Mickey, ever since Epic Mickey fell, they haven't produced their own games or developed their own games. So they source out, hence why they work with EA.
Yeah, I think they said.
But this seems like they're sourcing out even further without contracts. I'm not really sure how this is going to work because it's they're opening the gates for people to do stuff, but when it comes down to release, what happens? Does Disney swoop in and be like, all right, you need to sign this deal that we get 50% of the proceeds since it's our character?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's an agreement they would have to sign before that. I don't know if they would swoop in last second. They would be like, you can use our IP, and then last second be like, we want money. There's probably an agreement that would go into it.
And I was gonna say, does EA just have a closed contract on Star Wars, or can anyone do Star Wars?
I think it's exclusive to EA through 2013 because it was a 10-year contract they signed in 2013, and so or 2023. I mean, so it's going to go through 2023.
And that doesn't mean mobile games either. I'm assuming because Konami has a Star Wars mobile game.
Oh, fuck Konami! Don't even get me started on them.
But so it's until EA gives up or loses the rights to Star Wars. So
But I mean, look at all the rights that Disney has now. X-Men, Deadpool. I guess we learned the Terminator.
Predator, Alien, Avatar. Fucking Avatar.
Bob's Burgers.
Bob's Burgers.
We can get a Family Guy game.
Die Hard. Oh man, I'd play a high quality Family Guy game. I'm here for it. Family Guy. We already got South Park, but they're not owned by Disney anyway. Simpsons
Hit and Run remake.
Yes.
Do it for the meme, if anything else.
Keep the meme alive.
So basically, I think with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, being one of the fastest selling Star Wars titles ever, with Spider-Man being the fastest selling first party title in Sony's history. Uh, with Kingdom Hearts being the most selling Kingdom Hearts game in the franchise. I think that's just kind of like them being like, okay, gaming is big. Because to some of these bigger companies, especially companies ran by older people, they probably don't give a fuck about video games until they see the sales. They probably don't even think about it. But yes, they've been partnering with Square Enix, obviously Kingdom Hearts, and then Square Enix is also doing the Avengers game that's coming out this year.
Yeah.
So this kind of seems like they're opening themselves up for people. I don't know if they're just gonna. My only thing I'm worried about is they're just gonna be like handing it out like willy nilly, like, oh, you want to make this game? Go ahead, and then it's a pile of fucking garbage.
See, I'm worried about the shadier parts of what they could pull behind the scenes. Because
Yeah.
maybe they start pulling an EA and start stepping into like what people are developing to get what they want.
I feel like that only happens with Star Wars games, because mostly because what's her name, but based on Kingdom Hearts, the creator of Kingdom Hearts said that that Disney pretty much really helped them out a lot. They didn't really intervene, if you will.
Yeah, they intervened, so like the Disney worlds meant nothing in that game.
That's not true. Actually, the Disney Worlds were more fun than what happened after the Disney Worlds, which was
Yeah,
them
the Disney
springing for
worlds
the
were
ending.
fun. It's just they had nothing to do with the game.
Man, you put some respect on the Monsters Inc. world. Do it.
No.
Man, he kicked the shit out of Vanitas. Anyway, um, put some respect on Sully at least.
All right, Sully's the man.
Okay, so Sean Chaptow said that working with our friends at Disney. Wait, no, this is Kingdom Hearts. This is the Kingdom Hearts 3 producer. I'm sorry. I did put this on here. He said, working with our friends at Disney through our nearly 20-year relationship has produced something that neither of us could have accomplished alone. See, I think it could be a little different because Kingdom Hearts has worked with Disney for so goddamn long.
Kingdom Hearts has worked with Disney since the first game.
Yeah.
Which probably came out 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, he said 20-year relationships.
Yeah.
The Disney Pixar team has provided invaluable support in helping us realize our creative vision through this beloved saga.
You know what? I just want Disney to share whatever studio made the most recent Lion King movie, so we can get a game that looks real.
Except the new Lion King movie was terrible because it was just Lion King with emotionless characters.
But the animals looked amazing though.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Let that studio work on a game.
Yeah.
It'll take like 30 years to complete, but who cares? Mm-hmm. It'll look real. It'll be real. Imagine the possibilities.
Yeah. This is the first time Disney they stepped away from developing their own games because they kind of I think if I remember correctly they pretty much said that they weren't that good at it. I think they basically were just like we suck.
Like I said, pretty much since like Epic Mickey failed. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much like been the end of their like trying to really push for a solo Disney game.
Yeah. And I really think maybe the acquisition of Fox really is pushing this because you can do so much. Like I want a good Terminator game so badly, and I wanted it for a long time. And I feel like we're coming into this age where we're finally starting to get our high quality Spider-Man games. Thank you for grabbing it away from Activision. Thank you, gaming gods.
Hate you. Should have kept it with Activision.
Fuck off.
We could have got Spider-Man Call to Duty.
No, it would have been Spider-Man fucking Far From Home, the game. They were all movie license games, at least at the end they were.
Well, they had what? The Shadows.
I said.
Wait, that was Beanox. Wait, was Beanox part of Activision?
Beanox made every Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
I said at the end, not all of them. At the end, they were just making movie license games. But
Spider-Man 3 wasn't bad. Good game.
well, I mean, fine. We'll go with that. They were fucking awful, but we'll go with that.
Spider-Man 3 was all right.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Of all the things you shit on, and then you're back in that. Anyway,
Yeah.
but
I'm a weird one.
to be able to get, well, there is a Predator game coming out. I don't know if it's going to be good, but
No, it looks like garbage.
there is a Predator game coming out.
I took a look at it before. It's like, man, this game looks like some random indie company did this, and it looks bad.
Yeah, well, it's the same people who made Friday the 13th, I think.
No.
But anyway, you could do a Predator game. You can do another Alien game, since I want an Alien Isolation 2, and it's not gonna fucking happen!
Alien Colonial Marines 2.
I don't give a shit, as long as it's not made by Gearbox.
No. Gearbox, do it. Do it. I want a steaming pile of shit for Christmas Day.
Make me... Gearbox can only make a Borderlands game. They can't make anything else.
Make a Borderlands type Aliens game.
Man, Randy Pitchford's like, oh, I love Aliens. 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 Oh my god, we put so much love into this. And this was before everybody found out that Randy Pitchford is a piece of shit! Thank you. I had to get that on my system.
We could have an Alien versus Predator versus Terminator game.
You could. It would.
Or all three of them versus John McClane.
I want a Freddy versus Jason game. But
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure Fox also owns them. So
woo! You never know. But anyway, Shoptow ends with, we want to dream big and look forward to all things we can do together. Now, I think in the end, it depends on who they get to do what.
Yeah.
Because that also opens up the door, that opens up the vault to EA and Activision as well. And now I know EA already have Star Wars, but that doesn't fucking stop them from getting other things.
See, I likened EA to, or not EA, Bandai to Blumhouse, but this could be the true one. Like, Blumhouse is known for, like, pushing out a bunch of movies that are normally crap.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Subpar.
Yeah. This goes without...
Mid.
This goes without...
But, like, sometimes they release a good hit. Now, this could be Disney, where they just put, like, they get all these companies to push out shitty game after shitty game after shitty game.
I don't think so.
And maybe one will be good compared to their standards.
I actually don't think so. Because you know how much shit... They literally had to go to EA when Battlefront 2 released and go, guys, what the fuck? And
yeah, but they also left Star Wars with EA when they could have pulled out.
They could have, but, you know, I'm not... We only got 3 more years of it. That gives them time to do what, like one more game?
I want my Bounty Hunter game, damn it.
It could leave EA. You may not get that.
Yeah.
It may not be.
How about that one
EA's
chick from Uncharted? She was going to do a game, and then they canceled that.
Yeah.
Thanks, EA.
Yeah, Amy Hennig. Yeah.
Yeah. She had ideas. Hell, she could have done a game with Drew Karpyshyn if EA didn't fuck over BioWare.
Listen. It's fine.
Maybe she'll leave EA and then join him.
Listen, in 3 years, when they renew their deal with EA, we can jam our head through a plain glass window. Is that fine with you? Because
my heart literally started hurting as soon as you said when they resign with them.
Because when that happens, we will be here, our hearts out of our bodies. Sadness. Because it's not that I never want EA to make a Star Wars game ever, because as long as Respawn's making it. But I don't want there to be exclusive rights. I don't want exclusive rights. I want all these companies with ideas to want to make a Star Wars game. I want to see what would happen if a Sony published studio makes a Star Wars game. I want to see what happens.
I want to see what happens when Naughty Dog makes a Star Wars game.
I want to see what Naughty Dog. I just want to see what that looks like. The issue is,
I want to see Sony Santa Monica make A Naughty Dog game.
I don't. I think they only know how to make God of War. Anyway,
Or Star Wars.
I mean, is every game being directed by Cory Barlog? Because that's the only chance. But anyway, um, I like I said, I hope this is a good thing. Disney has a lot of licenses now. They own a lot. And so I don't think it's what's happened. I don't think it's what VTM says is going to happen. I don't think they're going to just push out shitty game after shitty game because I don't think they want that backlash, which they will get.
Hey, when you have too many cooks in the kitchen, something will go bad.
Well, I'm not saying they're all going to be good. I just don't think they're going to purposely push out bad games.
No, I won't. They won't purposely push out bad games, but it will happen.
It'll happen.
There will be some that slip through because they're going to have a lot of new if people follow up on their offer, like follow up on this gate opening.
Yeah, when you open the vault to everyone includes some pretty shitty people. So yes, that could happen. But
because it's not just Fox things, it's like everything Disney. Like,
yeah.
And Disney is far reaching.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm just happy we're finally starting getting superhero games because I said for the longest time before it started happening that, especially as graphics started getting better, you were like, video games, superhero stuff in Star Wars was ripe for video games.
Still waiting for a Superman game.
Still waiting for a Superman game. I personally don't care, but VTM's really sad about it. But I would be excited if they announced a Superman game. I like Superman. I like Superman. I have nothing against him.
I'm just saying, like, they're doing superhero or games. Like, why not a Superman? Well, his name has super in it.
Listen, as of I think you're gonna have to wait because for DC, all we've gotten is Batman. So
DC has to pull their heads out of their ass.
I have a feeling. My gut feeling is Rocksteady is making a Justice League game, which would include Spider-Man or Superman.
Nah, they'll figure out a way to make Batman the only playable character.
Whatever. You don't make a Justice League game and not have Superman. That'd be stupid right away. Rocksteady, Arkham Knight was kind of disappointing, but they're not stupid.
Yeah, they are.
They're not.
They're stupid enough to lie to us about who Arkham Knight is.
Well, they didn't lie. They didn't say he was someone else. They didn't.
But they did say that it wasn't Jason Todd.
Well, yeah, but Naughty Dog also said you couldn't play as Ellie. So sometimes people say stuff to hide their reveals.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. We're moving on. We're moving on.
Next story.
The last thing we have today is the PS5. It was leaked or rumored leaked. I don't know that the PS5 that the PS5 would cost to make $450 per unit.
That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. So we
know
what
that money's.
Yeah. What?
That's a lot of monies.
Okay.
I don't know how I could ever afford that.
So the PS4 was made. Well, I don't know what it was made for. I think they did. I don't have that brought up, but at launch it cost about $399 for the PS4. I remember the Xbox One cost $499 because they had the mandatory Kinect at launch, which destroyed their system, and that's why PS4 kind of took off because nobody wanted Kinect anyway. So anybody who wasn't like an Xbox fanboy, if they were on an even playing field, I'm not gonna pay $100 more for the same thing with just Kinect. And then I got the PS4 and I'm like, oh, 10 times better exclusives. I see.
Yeah.
But they
again,
kind of fucked
this price for the PS5 could change because from most of the articles I've read, they've been saying that one of the reasons the price is so high is because they're having issues right now securing a chip that's in the PlayStation 5. Like, it's very hard to make, so who knows, they might decide to actually change it out.
Yeah.
and go with something new if it becomes available. But that's one of the main driving reasons why it's so expensive, because this chip is just so hard to get a hold of.
Yeah. So what would
It's like, man, they're going above and beyond.
So what would you be willing to pay for a PS5?
I would. I don't know.
Because people expect it to come out at $399 like the PS4. Like people are like $450 to make it's ridiculous. It's like it was never gonna cost. It was always gonna be more than the PS4 because there's better shit in it.
I was thinking maybe like $430, if anything.
I would. I mean, in terms of what I would pay, I'd probably go all the way up to $499. If it went that high, I'd still buy one.
I mean, I'm still gonna buy one.
Yeah.
I just would have hoped that was cheaper because I'm a cheap ass. So,
you know, I wouldn't be shocked. Like I said, you have a console. The PS4 was $399. You have a console that has better shit in it, so it wouldn't be shocking. Like at $100 more, people are like, "This is something to look at. This is worrying." It's not worrying. It's called when you put better shit in your console, it's going to cost more. That's kind of how it works.
At the end of the day, they can charge as high as they want because they have exclusives.
Well, they can't charge as much as they want. You charge $1,000, I'm not buying it.
I'm just saying they have something that Xbox doesn't. Exclusives.
You know, but
they're winning. They've won, and they haven't even released the thing yet.
Okay, they won. They won the current gen consoles. I'm not declaring shit.
They've won like the last 3 gen consoles.
Not true. 360 was better than PS3. If it was at least even, it wasn't a straight up runaway. It was.
Yeah, I guess Xbox was really hitting its stride with 360.
And granted, I never had a PS2, but PS2 had some of the best exclusives or games from what I hear.
PS1, PS2. I say PS3 stomps, but you do make a good argument with Xbox 360. I would say it was hitting its stride. I did have quite a few Xbox 360 games before I got PlayStation.
Because you kind of think like now you're like, oh, another Gears of War, even though I enjoy Gears of War, but back with the 360, that was new.
Yeah, it was new. It was killing it.
And I mean, Halo already existed, but people were not tired of Halo yet. So, you know, you had, and maybe they didn't really have a shit ton of exclusives. But then again, back when I had my 360, I didn't really care as much about exclusives as I did when I started doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
But the PS4 killed the Xbox One to the point where they have an uphill battle to begin with. Like it murdered it so bad I couldn't make out their face.
It's like every time Xbox would announce something new for themselves, like a new game, PlayStation was like, well, we got 5 new games. Like, where are you at?
Yeah.
We aren't even going to E3 and we're still going to dick on you. Yeah. Like, and that's how bad it is.
And that was the importance of competition, because PlayStation 4 murdering the Xbox caused Xbox to start buying studios, and hopefully that leads to better games. That's the hope. That's what you do. That's why competition's good, because without competition, it may all be shit, but with competition, it forced Xbox to try, and they got these studios, and maybe it'll lead to something good. That's the hope, and that's why competition's good. That is the hope.
Xbox or PlayStation killed the Xbox so hard that Xbox had to offer up their only child, Scalebound, to be like off the hook.
If they really wanted to try to win, Scalebound would have been out. Anyway,
I know. That was
like
one of the games I was excited for, and I don't even have an Xbox.
But looking back on Scalebound, I feel like it got canceled so late in development for a reason. That game must have actually been terrible.
Yeah, it must have been. It must have been Anthem bad, but they saw fit to cancel it.
They were like, no. So I think I wouldn't mind. They like their like a lot of it's like $99.99. I feel if it's worth $450, I don't know, $470.
I feel like I feel like pushing it to $4.99 is like too much.
And that's possible, but at the same time, I mean, you have a console is going to last 7 years. It's usually the lifespan of a generation. Console is about 7 years. I mean, sometimes you have computers that only last 7 years. You're paying like $2,000 for them. Not always. You better fucking I'll punch some people, but sometimes, yeah, with computer upgrades, computers always evolving and everything. You upgrade it all the time and stuff like that. But $4.99 may be too much because if you think about Xbox, remember at launch it was $4.99 because of the mandatory Connect. But if PlayStation tries to charge $4.99 and then Xbox is like here's $3.99, then the same thing that happened to the Xbox One and the PS4 could happen here because the people who aren't fanboys or whatever, or don't care what console they have, are gonna go for that one that's $100 cheaper every single time.
Yeah.
Especially parents buying it for Christmas and stuff like that. They're going to be like the kid's gonna be like, we want a PS5, and they're gonna walk into the store and be like, fuck you are, you're getting an Xbox. $100 cheaper? We don't even love you enough for that. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, and something I wanted to bring up. So like, they might not even like if it's true that it costs $4.50 to make.
Mm-hmm.
They might only charge maybe like $20 above that. Because like looking at the PlayStation 4's numbers, like the PlayStation 4 was only made for about $381.
Mm-hmm.
And they initially sold it, so like they were only profiting about $19 initially.
Yeah, because you can profit.
And like looking at how much they've sold, like I only have numbers up to June of last year, but like they sold 100 million units. So it's like even if they just charge an extra $20, like that's $20 times 100 million.
Yeah,
like that's insane numbers.
They try to make their money off their exclusives.
Yeah, and they make monies off exclusives. So that's exclusives going to possibly 100 million units if people still have them.
Yeah. And you can do that. You sell them for a little bit because companies know that you can't if you're making a video game console for $450, you can't sell it for $600 to try to make a huge profit out of it because it's not going to sell. Or in Stadia's case, you can make anything and it's not going to fucking sell because you're fucking Google Stadia. But I mean, you could be like $100 for a Google Stadia. I'm like, you can keep that shit. That thing's gonna die. But yeah, it's hard to see. Tell us in the comments section down below what you would pay for a PS5 or an Xbox. If you're an Xbox person, tell us what you would pay for an Xbox Series X.
Tell us what you would pay and why you would buy an Xbox.
Why you buy an Xbox? But yeah,
no, I'm actually curious. What
I have an Xbox.
After all the news that is released about the Xbox and like what's possibly going to happen for their next generation, at least for the first year, why? Like, what makes you want to buy an Xbox? Is it Game Pass? Because if it's Game Pass, you could just keep your old Xbox.
Listen. I love gaming, right? And I know for Xbox, I want Xbox to succeed. We can talk here, we can sit here and talk shit about Xbox for 3 hours, but I want Xbox to succeed because I want PlayStation to succeed also, and I want an actual console two consoles going head to head with each other, putting out bangers, because that's what I want. I want that competition. And that's why in our last video when we were talking about the importance of exclusives and the importance of console battles and stuff like that, that's why it's important. Because the reason Ninja Theory got bought out by Xbox is because, and other studios got bought up by Xbox, is because Xbox wanted to buy these studios to make games exclusively for them because Sony was kicking their ass so badly. Whether that works or not is yet to be seen. But the fact that Sony was doing so well, that's what caused that to happen. And now hopefully we get some good games on Xbox as well. But yeah, you could say why you would get an Xbox. Maybe you're just an Xbox person, and that's fine. I understand that. Before the PS4, all I had was Xboxes. And that happens. I was younger, so I couldn't buy my own console, so I was like, hey, you want to do that? That plus my grandpa gave me a 360 for free, and I'm not going to say no to that.
For free?
Because he used to buy broken ones. My grandpa used to buy broken Xbox 360s and fix them. Because people
if I knew how to fix them, I would do it myself.
Yeah, because a 360 would get the Ring of Death, and people would just be like, oh, it's broken, and they would sell it. But my grandpa figured out how to fix them. He also knew which red light meant what.
Yeah.
So he was really good at it. He pretty much stopped when the new consoles came up because it became less profitable to do that because nobody cared about the 360 then. But anyway, that is going to do it for this video. Like I said, let us know down below how much you would pay for the new consoles. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, Angrier Travis. I also stream on Twitch as Angrier Travis. You can catch VTM at...
I'm just at VTM on Twitter. Pretty much it.
That's all you got. You could follow him. You could follow him on Twitch, but he's not going to do shit. Anyway.
No.
Anyway.
I always plan on streaming, and then when it comes down to it, I'm just too lazy. I'd rather just play the game in my privacy.
Yeah, and that happens too. Everybody's different. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will talk to you next time. Goodbye.
Love you.